is Michael Edward, creator of How to Crush Your Mental Blocks in 4 Weeks, which is a course that teaches you how to identify and remove those mental blocks that's stopping you from reaching your level of success. Hey, let's talk today about how to remain motivated. This is a huge subject, a vital subject, and I believe it was my buddy Steve again that brought this one up. Said you got to do a segment on this. And it was interesting because when I read that, I was flashed back to various seminars that I've been to and people that I talked to who've been to other seminars and so on. And I haven't been to a lot of seminars, but I've been to some. And the ones that I've been to recently were spectacular, absolutely spectacular. But let me back up a little bit. In the seminars I went to prior, and other people that I know that come, I talked to them as soon as they came home from a seminar, they were motivated idiots, all right? They were hyper, they were bouncing off the walls, but they didn't know what to do with it. And when you don't know what to do with the motivation, it wanes, okay? And motivation will wane. You have to keep it going. That's an internal thing, but I'll give you some points on that in a bit. And you become a motivated idiot, and that's all well and good. And then you get the other seminars that used to just be rather dull. They would be focused on technique, and have absolutely no motivational factors in there at all. And you need the blend of the two, obviously, because you may know a lot of stuff, but if you're not motivated to use that stuff, then you're not going anywhere. And on the other side, like I said, you could be a motivated idiot and be really hyped up, not know what to do, you're not going anywhere. But you're doing it really fast when you're highly motivated. Okay, so that's sort of what we're going to discuss. And I'm gonna give you 3 points today to help you understand a little bit more about how to remain motivated. The first point I want to cover is celebrate the little wins. I'm telling you, I was brutal at this. I mean, I was so bad at this. I never celebrated a damn thing, all right? All I would do is finish a task and just say, okay, what's next? Boom, right into the next thing. Never stop to celebrate a thing. And when I was working for the big organization, I did some pretty good stuff. And this isn't really a little win. This is a rather big win. To me, it was small, but to them, it was big. And what happened was, it was brought to my attention that a client was falling between the cracks. He was not able to do what needed to be done to conclude his arrangement, all right? And he was caught between 2 large organizations. The one organization said you can't do this until you do that. The other organization said you can't do this until you do that, and he couldn't do either without, everything working. So fortunately, I had worked around the organization quite a bit because I moved up rapidly and I met a lot of people and I understood a lot of the workloads and so on. And when it came to my attention that this guy was really stuck here, and frankly, he just wanted to close off everything and get everything done. He was preparing to die. I mean, he was an old man, and he literally told me, he says, I just want to put this to rest before I go to rest, And I said, well, let me see what I can do. So what I did was I made a phone call. I called one of my buddies at the highest level in the organization. And I said, look, here's where we're at. This is what the guy needs, And I knew this guy, right? He knew my guide dog, who had just passed away at that time, and we were telling Ozzy was that dog's name. We were telling some Ozzy stories and having some laughs and everything like this. And anyway, we finally got down to the work, and I said the guy's falling between the cracks, and he said, there's nothing I can do. And I says, ha, no. You're talking to me. You know what I know. And what I know is that, yes, you can do it. You can bend the rules, and so on. So I pushed him a little, and he did what needed to be done, and he got back to me within a day or two, and everything was resolved, and I got to phone the client and say, you know what, we're done. You're absolutely done. Everything is just the way you want it. We're good. And so he was so grateful. He sent me a terrific email and everything, right? So now I brushed this off. I moved right on to the next thing. And I mean, I kept the email, and I read the email, and yeah, I enjoyed it, you know, and so on. But really, it was just another task, you know, no different than any other to me. And then when I got home and I was talking about it, and all of a sudden I started realizing that, you know what, that was good. I did a really good thing. And I should be proud of myself. And when I think of the level of experience and everything that I had to go through just to get to be able to help this guy, because nobody else in the organization in that area could, you know, and all that stuff. And I started feeling really proud of myself. I started feeling really good. And then it occurred to me that, you know what? We come home so often after a day of work, and what do? We bitch about the day, right? We complain about the day. And that's not where we're at. That's not good. We want to talk about the great things that happened that day. And I started talking about this little success, this little win that I had, and I kind of got excited and everything, and I kind of went, you know what, that was really cool, and I was proud of myself, right? So that's one thing that you need to do, is to remember the little successes of the day, the little wins, all right? And when you recognize the win, you'll keep on winning. It's like a momentum. When you start to win, and then you start to put your head up and go, you know what, that was cool. I finished that report. I'm proud of it. It was good work. I'm done. And later on, you know, what's the next task? But you got to stop for a minute and just celebrate the little wins, because that's what makes it worthwhile. It's what helps you keep happy about what you're doing, right? Rather than just brushing it off and just saying, you know what, next. No, stop and celebrate the wins. And as I say, what you want to do is develop a habit, whether it be at lunch, at supper time at home, or whether it be when you walk in the door, go give your significant other a nice little nuzzle and a cuddle, and you know, and ask the question, so what good happened today? Don't just say, so what happened today? Or how was your day? Because often they'll bitch, right? And try and get it to be a habit where you talk about the wins you had that day every day, so that you can remember to celebrate them. All right? That is one definite way of keeping motivated, is to keep your attitude up by celebrating the wins. In point number 2, remember how far you've come, because, my friend, you've come a long way. All right? I don't care how old you are. I don't care how much experience you have. I'm telling you, from wherever you were to wherever you are, you've come a long way. You've learned a great many skills. You've learned a great many habits, some good, some bad. We'll work on those, the bad ones. And, you know, you've come a long way, and you need to get focused on that. And sometimes what I have to do when I'm going through a bit of a rougher time, that I need to think about a time when I was particularly powerful. Think about a time when I was very successful, and remember the struggle. Remember what I had to go through to get to that point, and recall that, you know what, sometimes you have to go through a bit of hell to get to heaven. And I remember when I was, and this is way back, when I was going to college, computer technology was in its infancy. We couldn't get books, and I say we, my best friend Glenn and I, who is also blind, we went through the college experience together, and thank God for him, because I never would have made it alone. We couldn't get even textbooks in a format that we could use. And I remember spending way too much time trying to get a book in a format that I could read and study rather than just opening the book and studying. Like, you wouldn't believe the amount of hours that I had to put in. And, you know, there was just so many things, so many barriers that I had to get through. And most of the faculty were terrific. They were really, really good working with us. Of course, you get the odd one that's not so good, but that's, you know, that's just what it is. And it was tremendous. It was so hard. The hours that we spent was just exhausting, and I don't know how I did it. But then came the day, graduation day, and our last names are very similar, and somehow there was one person between us when we were lined up to go on the stage. So he had his first guide dog, I had my first guide dog. They're old friends, you know, and we were standing there, and I said, "Glenn, where are you?" And he says, I'm right over here. And he was just ahead of me. There was one guy between us. And I said to the guy, who I didn't know, I said to the guy, "Excuse me, man, but can I step ahead of you?" I said, "I really want to go on stage with my buddy." And he looked down at our dogs and everything. He's like, "Understood," you know. And Glenn hit the stage, and the crowd started going crazy. And then when I hit the stage, when both the guide dogs were up there and both of us were up there, the crowd went berserk, right? It was standing O. I couldn't hear anything. Course coordinator, who was basically a friend of ours, we really knew each other very, very well. He was there to hand out the diploma, had diplomas for the dogs and everything, and you couldn't hear anything. I mean, I didn't know where he was. I didn't know where my buddy was, and you know, and I wanted to find him, and I wanted to lock hands with him and do a little, you know, we made it kind of thing. But that didn't happen. As I say, I didn't have a clue where he was. Anyway, it was an experience. It was an incredible experience, and I go back there sometimes in my head, and I remember stepping on that stage, and I remember as I walked, not even a quarter of the way onto the stage, how everybody just went crazy, and they were celebrating us in that we were able to graduate and so on, and of course most of those people didn't know us. It was just a powerful moment, and these are the things that you need to remember in your life, and you've got them, and they don't have to be as dramatic as a standing ovation by any means, but you've got them in your life. You know what they are. You just think about it for a bit, and and one of the things you want to do is write some of them down, especially if you have to think about it, because we often brush off our successes, right? Just like in the last segment I talked about. We often brush them off. Well, this is time not to brush them off. This is time to polish them up and look at them carefully and say, you know what? I was good then. I am still good now. And yes, I might need a little bit of encouragement. So let's go back and see what I've done and take lessons from that and say, I can do it then. I can do it now. All right? And so write them down. Just write down bullet points of them. You can write them into a story if you want, but at the very least, just write down bullet points and look at it every now and then. Just look at it every now and then when you are going through a harder time and you need that motivation. You need that kick in the butt. Then there's your kick in the butt. What do you mean? I did it then. I can do it now. I'm still me. I still have the same brain. If anything, it's more powerful now than it was then, certainly. Because you go through experiences and you grow. That's just reality. That's life. So, all right. So that's what I want you to do, is to think about how far you've come and keep on going. Number 3 is take a course in personal development. Now, you want to take a course in something, but I recommend personal development because there's skills there that you want to develop anyway, irregardless to what it is you want to do. All right. So you can't go wrong with taking a course in personal development, and it will give you new perspectives on life. And how that fits into motivating yourself is when you learn something new and you apply what you learn, it's motivating. All right, it's another win, it's another success, but you've also picked up new skills that you can apply And that is just another way of keeping the momentum going. All right. And here's some other reasons why you want to do this. Now, I was a lone wolf in almost everything that I ever did and almost all my life. And you know, when I was big into weightlifting, I went to a gym, public gym, and I trained on my own, and that was scary as hell. I mean, it really was. I had to learn my way around the gym. It was a large gym. It was packed with people. I would go in the off hours, but there were once or twice a week I had to go during peak hours just because that's the way my schedule worked out, and that was bedlam. That was scary. But I did it. All right, I was a lone wolf, and I survived it. And in all of my personal development, teaching, studying, for the most part, again, I've been a lone wolf. Now it's better today. If you take a course, often the course will come with where you can put in comments, where you can join a Facebook group, and in such, you're joining a pack. All right, so you're not the lone wolf anymore. And what I like to say is the pack has your back. And often these groups are so supportive and so wonderful, and they're full of people who are obviously like-minded because they're taking the same course you are. And you're taking the course because you're interested in it. So are they, right? Really, really good way to be. And I took a course a long time ago. I mean, I took many, many courses, but there was a point in my life where I was rebuilding, but I was feeling a little weak. I was feeling a little tired. I was feeling a little, dragged. And at this time, one of my mentors came out with a program. It was a 5-week program. He was going to do a 1-hour chat every week, 1-hour lesson in those 4 or 5 weeks. And at the time, there was also a Facebook group, and I didn't even know what a Facebook group was. That was my first exposure to one, and it was great. It was the Facebook group, not the content that I was interested in, because I already knew the content. I was a student of his. This was a watered-down version of. I hate to use the term watered down, but it was not as extensive a program as I already had by him, so I knew what he was going to be teaching. And it was a good course. There was nothing wrong with it. A lot of new people to the subject matter, which was law of attraction, by the way. One of my favorite subjects. I love law of attraction. And it was a Facebook group that I wanted to join with. I wanted to join a pack so that they could have my back, right? And it was great. I met a lot of good people there. A couple of them are still in touch today, and that was years ago. We made some lifetime friends here, but at the time it was what I needed. I was able to join in and teach. I was helping Bob, the facilitator, with his permission. I was able to teach, answer questions, and so forth. So that was great exposure. Some of my first students came from there. And it was, all in all, it was a really good exposure, and it kept me motivated. It brought me back into being excited again about learning more about law of attraction, right? And so you want to join the pack, and it'll have your back, right? The pack will have your back. And, excuse me, that is a really good way of remaining motivated. So I want you to think about a subject matter that you want to learn more about, and take a course in it. Find out, of course, read the description and everything, and find out whether or not they have a Facebook group. And I have my intro level course, which, if you haven't checked it out, go and check it out. It's How to Crush Your Blocks in 4 weeks, and it's on my website, mepersonaldevelopment.com. And that course, I'm going to be revamping it shortly. And if you already have the course, don't worry about it. I'm not going to charge you to get the new course. No, you'll be included in the upgrade. And there will be a Facebook group. If there isn't when you purchase, don't worry about it. There will be. And of course, there is comment fields in every section, and you'll know what I mean when you get there. But you can put in a comment, and people can respond. So it's just another way of being in a pack and getting helpful information. All right? So this is the type of stuff that you want to do in order to keep motivated. All right? And if you go through these 3 points and you apply them into your life, and you absorb them, really absorb them, and understand what it is that I'm saying here, it'll help keep you motivated. These are not tips and tricks on how to be a motivated idiot where you're bouncing off the walls. These are the serious ones. These are the ones that are going to carry you through when you have the difficulty. These are the ones that are going to carry you through and keep you motivated over the long haul. And that's what I'm looking at here. I'm not looking at quick fixes, right? Quick fixes are fine for the quick moment. But we want the long haul. We want to reach our highest level of success. And in order to do that, we have to stay motivated, focused over the long haul. All right? Hope that all makes sense to you. And I'll check you out soon. Until then, I want you to, follow the Michael Edward page on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, check out the website, all the good stuff. It's all here. Have fun. I want you to go out there every day and enjoy. I want you to love as much as you can, and I want you to succeed.